All right. So, welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach YouTube channel and podcast. And if you don't know who I am, my name's Samantha Brown, and I coach professional organizers starting or scaling their organizing business. And today I have Haley with me, who is the newest member of our community, our coaching community that we have. And Haley and I were talking about how to create her website. And she went ahead and went to Squarespace, which is what I'm the most comfortable with. And we were trying to figure out the best way to help her create her website. And I got to thinking, well, why don't we just record this, put it on YouTube? And that way, if you are creating your website, it helps you also. So today is just going to be like an overview of kind of what it looks like inside of the Squarespace on the platform, what it's going to look like for you if you're first getting started. And then I'm going to go into the website that I have for my organizing business because I still work with clients and show you the most simple way and how you only need a couple page website. You do not need all the bells and whistles and crazy stuff. We want to keep it simple because we want to get you working with clients. Then you can come back and add all of the stuff later on. So let's me go ahead and share my screen. And then we are going to jump on in. All right. Okay. So on the, this is what's considered your dashboard. And Haley, can you see what I'm seeing?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. And Haley, if you have any questions as I'm going through, like, please feel free to ask me, because if you're wondering what it is, whoever's watching is probably wondering also.
Okay.
So that'll make it super helpful. Okay. So this is your dashboard whenever you have your websites. But when you first like sign into Squarespace, and definitely do the 14-day free trial and kind of play around with it to see if you like it first, always on anything that you use online. But whenever you first go to create your website, it is going to pull up this. And what this is the fact that Squarespace has gone through and they've created a bunch of different templates that you can use. Now over here, it's going to show you, like all of the templates, the popular design, if you have like a local business, which of course is what we have, or professional services. All of these are great, and they're great to get inspiration from, in my opinion. But what I like to do is also, which like this one's real cute, but the problem is that like this one is specifically for realtors or interior designers, and they don't have one that says for professional organizers, of course. And so I prefer to build your own template. And the reason I do is because, again, we want to keep this very simple, and I'm going to go through and show you how you can do that. So I will go back to my account dashboard. All right. So inside of my website, which one thing I love about Squarespace is that every single thing you can change, you can mess with, play with, kind of figure out what you like, remove anything you don't like. But if you start trying to play with something that is already there and you start trying to kind of fill in the blanks, but it has nothing to do with organizing, then before you know it, you're actually going to be confusing yourself more than helping. And so on this is the page once you like decide either the template that you want or you decide to create your own. Now, if you create your own, all of this is going to be blank. But what you do is over here, it has a bunch of different options. And because I already have mine created, I have to click edit. Now, whenever you go in, anywhere you see this, you go to add a section. And then it's going to ask you what kind of section that you want to add. And so that's why I like the idea of creating your own, is because you can literally go through and decide, okay, I want my, first section to be just introducing my brand. I want my next one to be a testimonial. I want my next one to be my services, or whatever you decide that you want your order to be in. Now, I do want you to know that one thing I have learned over the years is that the majority of the people that come to your website are going to stay on the homepage. And so for instance, like how in my header up here, I have, like home, services, before and afters, our mission, or book consultation. Now, for you just getting started, you just need the home page, you need your services page, and then you need your book, your consultation form, which I will show you. Once you get some before and afters, that's when you would go in and add your before and after section. But what you want is, as you're going down through here, you want buttons that lead to the other pages. So it's almost kind of like a summary on the home page of the bigger page. So like, book the consultation. We've got some quotes and some photos that kind of slide, which I'll show you all of this in a minute. But like right through here, I've got, like our proven method to get you organized from beginning to end. This is a summary of what is actually, I got to hit exit to be able to do this. Hold on. But what I want is a button that is then going to take them to the services page. So the actual summary is on the home page so they can at least see it. But then the button is going to take them to that page if they want to know more about the services. My story, that's the same as, like your mission, if you wanted to add, or an about me page, if you decide that you want to do that. The before and afters, I've got like the summary here, but then I've got the button that they can click that takes them to the actual before and afters page. But again, we don't really need all of this just yet, because you guys probably don't have very many before and after photos. If you do, fantastic, definitely add them. And I will absolutely get into that here in a little bit. But so whenever you are creating, right here, you have your header. And it is going to ask you what you want your header to look like. So like right here where it says edit site header, you click on that and then it'll start bringing up these little things. Now, what these are like your site title and your logo. So that's what this right here is. The elements is what they consider the buttons. Like if you want to show your Facebook button, the Instagram button, that kind of thing. The style, you can go over, and I'll show you here in a minute, but on the left-hand side of the screen that I was showing you where it had all of those options, you can choose what colors you want to have throughout your entire website. And then that way, each section, as you create it, you can go over here. And like, if I wanted this one here to actually be this, or I'm sorry, we're on the header. If I wanted the header to look, different, then I can click a different and see how it's changing the header up at the top to the colors that I am then clicking. Okay, so every single section, and that's why I'm saying it gets a little intricate, because you can choose that on every single one that you go through. And so you just kind of have to play with it a little bit. But let me put it back before I exit. And anytime you do anything, you can either choose to save it or just exit out, and it's going to take everything back to the way it was before you started playing with it. But over here on the left-hand side is where I was saying that it gives you the options. So like, for instance, under design, you have your site styles, which that is your fonts, your colors, the spacing, your buttons. It's a lot. But on your, not on your fonts, like you can choose whatever font you want, but colors, that's what matters. So you can edit your palette. And so that's why whenever I was over here and I was editing it and I went to the colors section, all the options it gave me, which were these things right here, are based off of my color palette. So you want to go through, and there is a website called Coolers. It's Coolers, and it can help you find, color ideas for your website. You can also, of course, go on to like Etsy and look up branding ideas, or, on Google, any of those things. But you want to have your, 5 colors. I would definitely, if it were me, at least have one white and one black, only because you need some of your wording to be black And then you need some of your wording to be white so it pops good enough. Okay, so any thoughts yet, Haley? Or like, is this making sense?
It's looking good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So that's your site styles. Now, whenever you come in, I wouldn't worry so much about like the spacing. The buttons I did worry about only because I thought it was really cute to have them like kind of curved, but then have, they call it a petal. And over here on the shape, you literally can pick whatever shape you want for the buttons. And so I went ahead and picked petal because I thought that was cute, but it has like your primary, your secondary. Just don't even worry about all that stuff. Just go in. I literally chose petal for all of them and called it a day.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll close the site styles out. And then let me exit. Okay. And then over here on the left. So one other thing I wanted to show you before I start getting into what you should have on your website, in my opinion, you know, take it, leave it. But on the pages, it is going to show you what pages you have up here. Those are the ones that are actually published. That's what's going to show up here. That's what people can actually see. Now down here, you will also have pages that maybe, you know, that you're playing with, or you're, you know, in the process of making, but it's not done yet. You can leave it down here. Now, the second you decide, okay, I've got my about page done, let me just drag it up. I want it to go in between the home and the services. And then literally that's all you have to do. And now that's a published page. Let me pull that back down so I don't forget. Mess up my website. All right. So let's go real quick into, and then of course, oh, one other thing I wanted to show you over here on this was under, I think it's under marketing. Now, all of this, all of the scheduling, all of that stuff, don't worry about any of that. But under marketing, under SEO appearance, this matters. So right here is what you are going to put. That's where your SEO goes. But you do not want, and it's down here for the SEO site description. What this does is it helps your SEO, which is search engine optimization. So that way, when people are looking for a professional organizer, like you want to make sure those kind of words are in here. But also when you share your page with someone, these first couple of sentences, that's what's going to show up under the photo or above the photo that you have shared. And it'll show you right here how far out it ends up showing when you share your website. So just be aware that the first sentence or two is what people are going to read when you share your website with them. And then, of course, down below that, I just started putting, you know, like Knoxville, Tennessee, craft room, master closet, like any SEO words I could think of, because they're not going to see that part. But that's for the SEO. And so that's under marketing. That's the only things as at the beginning that you even need to worry about whatsoever. All right. So let's talk about our homepage and what we even need on a homepage when we are first getting started. So in my opinion, like I said before, you want to make sure that you have the summary of each of the other pages. But the reason I put, you know, something cute up at the top was like, you know, the organizing spaces, declutter home, simplifying life. But then I immediately put the button saying free consultation because I want them to know that the consultation's free. And if this is as far as they make it on my website, at least they can click the button and it's going to take them to the contact form. Then a lot of people on organizing websites will have like either scripture or they will have, you know, different quotes that have something to do with organization. So I put a few of those. And then with each one, you know, I just put like a cute photo just to kind of put something on there. Then, of course, you want your, you know, the proven steps because we want something that's going to take them to the services page. We also want a section with a photo. Make sure you have at least one photo of yourself on your homepage because people connect with people. And so when they can look at you and see who you are, they are more likely to connect with you and reach out. And then down here, of course, my little one for the, linking to the before and afters, the testimonial section. Now, here is my thought on the testimonial sections, because I know the thought you're having is, well, I've not worked with anyone, so how can I have any testimonials? What I did when I first got started was I reached out to a few people that I knew really liked me, because you definitely want to make sure that they like you. And B, people that I had either worked with at a previous job, or friends or family, people that could give me a testimonial on my character, like who am I? What type of person am I? Or someone that had worked with me and could at least speak to the type of worker that I was. It doesn't necessarily have to be someone that I organized for in the beginning. We can always go back and replace these as we start working with clients and get good testimonials. But for now, we just need something that someone can say about you that is who you are, the type of person you are, that you're not judgmental, like whatever those things are that people would say about you. Reach out, get just a few sentences from a couple different people and put those as your testimonials, because they are testimonials. They're testimonials about who you are and the type of person you are. And I know for me, if someone's coming in my home, I at least want to know that, they're nice and that they're not going to judge me, or that, maybe they are a hard worker, or whatever that looks like. And so it doesn't have to be super long, but just a few good sentences. And then down here, I just put another little section that people can like scroll just to, give it a little something extra. And that is the end of my homepage. So super simple, super easy. Now, as you are going through to create the one that you want to create, your website, when you choose to create your own, or whichever you choose, you're going to click add section. And then this is what I was showing you earlier of, this is where you can kind of play around with what exactly is it that you're wanting to put there. Like on that first one, I just wanted it to introduce my brand. So it was more of an intro. And so whenever you go through here, obviously the photos that are on there are not the photos you're going to use. And this is part of your homework, Haley, and anybody listening, I have a few things for you to do that are going to get us ready to actually create your website. And one of them is to find photos, because that is huge, but I've got a list for you, so don't stress. So on the, just for you, as you're going through here, like which one for you stands out the most? Which one do you like? Obviously, the one I used was this one. And so when I clicked it, it's going to add the section right there, and see how it looks super similar. But obviously I picked a different photo and then changed the wording, but it gets really easy here. So when you're like hovering over this and you click edit section, all right, so you're going to edit it. They've changed it recently now to where you can actually like grab this and kind of move it around. If you don't like the way that it's like, exactly in the middle. I don't know why it did that, but hold on. And what it's doing is, see where all those little squares are? It's showing you that is where you can put the wording. And so, that's going to help make it to where you can move it around, but you can't move it down on top of the button, or, that kind of thing. And so it just kind of shows you where you can. Now, each time that you go in, like, let's say I wanted to change the wording on this, but I also decided that I wanted to change the font. And so it's as simple as that. And then instead of a paragraph 1 font, I wanted it to be paragraph 3, which is teeny tiny. Or I wanted it to be heading 3, which is even bigger. So you can kind of play with that and decide which one, like what size that you want that wording to be. You can also right here take this and, move it out. Like if you just want it to be one long sentence instead of, right in the middle, and that kind of thing. And then on your button, anytime there's a button, you click on it and then you click the edit part for the button. That is when you can change, what it says. And then you can add the link of what it's going to send it to. Now over here, this little sun looking thing, when you click that, that is going to give you the option of, you could do a web address or you could do a page. And so now on the page, when I click right here, it shows me all of the pages that I've already created. So like if I wanted that button to send me to the before and afters page, I would click that and then just click save. And so then now that button sends people to my before and afters page.
Okay.
So, it gets a little intricate. It takes a few minutes to like get it going and to get it going good. But that's also why I was saying, it's super important to keep it extremely simple and to, only have a couple of pages in the beginning. But I know right now it seems like a lot, but I promise you that as you play with it, it gets really, really easy. And a lot of these, if you look and see like this whole, like all of these right here where I have the quotes with the photos, that is 2 sections. So like for me, if I click on there and I were to hover here and click add section, then I could come over here and kind of see, I was trying to remember which one. It may have been, no, not services, not people. They've done some updates recently. And so maybe it was images. That is not it either. Ooh, portfolio. Maybe that was it. And then you can scroll down and of course see kind of what the different ones are. And you just kind of have to play with it. I was trying to remember. I wonder if it was products. It was not products. About, oh, it was, maybe it was about. Okay, yep. So what I did for the quotes with the photos is I took like this right here and I added that. And then I just went in and right here where you edit the section. So what this is saying is, do you want, how many rows or how big do you want this section of the website to be? Well, I don't want it that big. And so I'm going to take it down to maybe like 15. Why is it not letting me? I guess it has to be that big because of the photo. Sorry, guys. They have changed. Oh, nope, it did it. Okay. They have changed. They've done such a big update, which is nice to have more options, but at the same time, it also makes it a little more annoying. Like I just need easy and simple at this point. Anyway, so I need to find exactly where that page is. But the point I was trying to make was whenever I did this, this section right here, why is it not doing? Okay, there we go. All right. So whenever I did this section right here, what I did was I went over here to this and it will duplicate it. So see how I went through and it's literally 4 of the exact same kind of mini sections that I have going on there. And so once I found one that I wanted, I literally just clicked duplicate. And so then that made it to where, okay, so it does 2 of the exact same ones, but I wanted the photo on the other side. And so all you do is go in. Let me edit. Come on. Why? Oh, I bet I have to do the upgrade thing. It's so weird. Ah, there we go. Okay. So so you can take this and move it over. I forgot that you have to click the little upgrade thing on each little section, which is super annoying. But so where it had that button up here that said upgrade, and then you're able to move it over. And so that's how I did the making it to where now, instead of the photo being on the same side, it's on the opposite side, but they look very similar. And so you're able to do things like that. This is where it is. See where it says upgrade? For whatever reason, they have it to where once you click upgrade, then inside of that section, that's when you're able to start moving stuff around by just clicking and dragging. And then now, if I created this section and I'm like, oh, that is not what I wanted it to be, then all I have to do is come over here and click remove, and it's going to take that whole section away. And then I'm back to what I had before. So just trying to see what else. Okay, so let's talk about, well, first off, questions. Give me like any questions that, oh, one more thing. Sorry. Up here, this is showing you the desktop view. If you go right here and click that, it's going to show you what it looks like on a cell phone. And so that's the mobile view. That way you can actually scroll down and make sure that it looks good on someone's phone, just as it does on the desktop view. It's just a lot easier to edit in the desktop mode. And so let me exit out of this. And then, all right, give me questions. You got any questions so far?
I don't think so. I'm learning a lot.
Okay, good.
Looks good. Yeah.
Okay, so what I was thinking on your like quote unquote homework, right? Like for you and for anyone listening, but for part 2, for us to come back and actually start building this thing, is we need some quotes. So if you will go and find yourself, just a handful of quotes that you really like, that, you would want on your website. Number 2 is photos. So obviously we need some professional looking photos to use on our website. And I wanted to show you that you can go to Shutterstock and you can actually download their, like, sign up for a month. And with any month, you get 10 free, or you get 10 photos for free for signing up for their program. And then after that, per month, I think they give you 2 additional photos, but you can cancel your subscription at any time. So definitely go on there. They have a ton of really good images. And you can just put in words like closet or professional organizing or offices or, whatever those words are. And then the other place that's really good is Unsplash, which Unsplash is also what is partnered with Canva. So whenever you're on Canva and they have all those photos that you can use for free, that is Unsplash. But you can go to Unsplash yourself and go ahead and download some photos. And then there's also one called Pixabay. And pretty much on Google, if you go on there and put in royalty-free photos, that is what you want. You want the ones that are royalty. My accent, royalty-free photos is what you want, because that means you can use them on your website because people are giving you, the royalty, and you're able to use them and no one's going to come after you and sue you, which we do not want. Exactly. Yes. And then, so I was trying to think, the photos, you definitely want those. You need a few quotes. And then you also need to take a little bit of time and figure out your story. So, it doesn't have to be a whole about me page right now, but your story, as in, what do you want this to say? Like where your photo is going to go, which is one of the photos you also need. Now, what I did was I made one of my teenagers go out with me one day, and I took a few different shirts and we just went around the city, them taking photos and then me throwing on a different shirt, taking more photos. And that's how we ended up with my professional photos. But you only need like, a couple. You don't need a bunch. You just need a couple. So that way people can see who you are. But you want to also have like, what is your story? Why is it that you want to help people? Like, for me, once I actually went in and started telling people, I made a point to say that I, am a wife and that I have 2 kids and that I worked in the healthcare field for over 15 years and that, I became a professional organizer because I truly believe that your space reflects your mind, your overall mood, and your energy, that kind of thing. So if you can get yourself, kind of a paragraph about who you are and why you want to help people, we need that. And then the testimonials that we talked about already, if you can get a few of those from a few friends or coworkers, whoever you can think of. And then the other thing that you are definitely going to need is, what are your steps? And I know sometimes we can get stuck on this, and I'm going to stop my share for now so you can see me. I know sometimes we can get stuck on this of like, what are my steps? Like, oh my gosh, I need the steps of like my business. But it can be like the exact same steps I have, which is step 1's the free consultation. Step 2 is declutter and donate sessions. Step 3 is your organizing session. And step 4 are maintenance sessions if needed. You could also do it to where step 1 is the phone call. Step 2 is the consultation, like we can kind of play with that. And so that is something that we can come up with. No problem. I just wanted you kind of thinking of that, of like, what, do you plan on doing more like declutter sessions, or are you trying to reach more of the people that you only want to do the, bins and baskets and all of that stuff, and you don't really want to deal with the declutter? Like, you have to declutter to organize, like you have to, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we have to put that as a step in your process, because if we put it as a step in your process and they read it, then you're going to have people calling you that only need to declutter. And so, we can kind of play around with that. And then, the other thing that I needed you to think about for you and anyone watching is how you are wanting to set up your contact page. So we definitely want to put a contact page, and we'll go over all of that in the next one, and I'll show you how, super simple, super easy. But there's kind of 2 ways to get them on the phone with you. And one of the ways is by one of the sections having your Calendly link. And the Calendly link, having it to where it's set up in the 15-minute sections, and then they can just click that whatever time works for them, and that automatically sets up the phone call. The other option is having the contact form. And then actually the third option is you technically could do both, to where some people can fill out the form or some people can click the Calendly link. Now, I will tell you, if you don't have a very kind of set schedule, your Calendly link, sometimes you can almost forget to go in and switch your availability. Like if your kids have a basketball game or your kids have a whatever, and before you know it, all of a sudden it's going to pop up like, oh, you have a 15-minute consultation, and you forgot that day you were doing whatever. And so you have to be very committed to keeping your calendar updated if you want to go with the Calendly link. I think it's an amazing idea, and you can do Calendly for free if you only have one event, which that's all you would have. So that would be a free option that we could connect to the website, but you just have to kind of decide for you personally what it is that you want to do. And I'm going to share the screen again and show you. On the consultation, you definitely want to make sure, or the consultation form, I'm sorry. You definitely want to make sure that it is super simple. I don't know if you're the type of person, but I know I am, where if I have to fill out too much information, I am not going to fill this thing out. And so, you literally just want it like their name, their phone number, their email, And then all I did was, a message, because I figure most people want to at least tell me a little bit about themselves. So I just put, what are your goals for working with a professional organizer? And is there anything you would like us to know? And then for me, because I have a few different things that I do in my business, I went ahead and gave them checkbox options just so I knew when I call them what we are talking about, because talking to someone about an unpacking job is very different than talking to someone about a virtual organizing session. And so I literally just kept it super simple and then clicked submit and put a little thing here saying we will call you shortly. And that is the entire book a consultation page. It's that easy and simple. And then on the services page, I did want to show you this before. But this is where I was saying that, deciding kind of what your steps were, just so we can put it in there, because I've learned over time that the more information you give people, you're giving them almost too much information. They're calling you and you have to assume that they are already overwhelmed. They are already stressed out. So you want to make it very simple for them. And so if step one is, the phone call, then having the link here for the Calendly, perfect, done. They can set that up and then that's the end of it. But up here, I did this to where I did step 1, 2, and 3. And then once they scroll down, that's whenever I started going more into detail of what each session includes and the cost. And then I put in other services that we provide, so like I do real estate cleaning sometimes, which I've kind of stopped. I need to take that off there. But unpacking after a move, I did that as a per hour fee, because when you're unpacking after a move, you never know how long that's going to take. And it's kind of a different beast than just going in and working on a room that somebody has already been living in for a while. And then other services, that's where I put my staging sessions, where I would help them, get their home ready for the real estate photos, and my virtual organizing sessions. So for me, I had all these different options, which is also why I had the checklist. But for you, if you literally want to keep it as simple as just this part and this part where it shows, and then that can be the end of it. And keep it very simple on your services, especially at first. So yeah, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
Do you think doing the 4 steps on there is too much to do? Like step 3, organize, for maintain or maintenance, or
yeah. So the reason
I did
the reason I did the 3 steps on this page for the services is because your declutter and donate session and your organizing session, they're pretty much exactly the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I just wanted them to kind of understand that, that is the same no matter what. And so I made it very simple on this page, because the maintenance sessions are more for months later. So what you could do is forget the maintenance sessions. You could put on here phone call, step 1, phone call with the consultation. Step 2, declutter and donate. Step 3, organizing sessions. You could even do it like that. You could take the maintenance sessions off of there. So however you want to set that up that makes the most sense to you and what you are trying to go after. I was just trying to, I get stressed out when it comes to having to do all of the research for the bins and baskets. And what I kept finding was that a lot of my clients don't even, they would already have a bunch of bins and baskets, and because every client you're going to run into, they decide they want to get organized. So they immediately go and they buy a bunch of bins and baskets, and that's their step 1 to getting organized. Then when that doesn't work, that's when they reach out to us. And so 90% of the people I work with, whenever I ask them, well, do you have any bins and baskets you'd like to use? They start going around the whole house, grabbing every bin and basket they have. And we end up with a pile in the middle of the floor that I can use through the service. And I try to keep it, because I understand they're already paying a hefty fee for me to be there anyways. And so I always try to ask them, do you want to use what you already have, or do you want to do an organizing session? Because if we do a declutter session, let's say in the kitchen where we pull everything out, we put stuff back and we use what they already have, well, then the kitchen's done. But if they are wanting to then get bins and baskets and do that part of it, step one is we have to declutter, pull everything out, decide what's even going back in those areas. Then we have to measure. Then I have to go home and start doing all the research, finding the things that fit in those measurements the right way. Then they have to order them. And then I need to come back for another session to actually organize using the stuff that we purchased. And so it really just depends on what you're wanting to do. I just knew in my area, people were going to get very overwhelmed by the idea of each room takes at least 2 sessions. And I noticed that whenever I was speaking to people, the word declutter would like light their eyes up, where they'd be like, oh my gosh, I need to declutter. And so when I started noticing those things, I'm like, okay, I need to promote the decluttering part of the process more than anything else on my website for the area I live in. Now, you know, and everyone's area might be completely different. Like if you live in, you know, I don't know, Miami or something, maybe no one declutters and everyone wants to, you know, have like Khloe Kardashian pantries.
Right. Yeah.
You know. And so, yeah, I think it's more of just kind of, you know, who you are, what type of sessions you're wanting to do, and who it is that you're trying to help. Because I also wanted to be able to help kind of the everyday person, you know, be able to hire an organizer and it not break the bank just because, you know, and a lot of them have little kids. And, you know, so I try very, very much so to use things that they already have and to spend as little as possible. Now, of course, there's times that you have to, where you're like, listen, girl, you've got a 16-inch or 20-inch deep pantry and everything's falling to the back and we can't see anything. Stuff like that, we have to order some stuff to help, you know, raise up the cans or make it to where the stuff pulls out or whatever. But, you know, when you're creating your website, you really want to think about A, what type of sessions you want to do, and B, who is it you're trying to help? Because you want that person that you're trying to reach to, when they look on your website, feel like, oh, this girl gets me. Like she's my kind of person. This is who I'm going to hire.
Yes, ma'am. I like that.
Yeah. And one other quick thought that just came to mind is I've actually had, and this is once you get to the point that you're doing before and after photos. So a lot of people, when they go to do before and after photos, they, even as organizers, we try to make it look perfect. The problem is that when the client looks at those before and after photos, they almost feel unworthy because it's not realistic. Their home does not. Yes. And their home does not look that way. And so they're like, oh my gosh. So I got to the point where the ones that almost looked the worst to begin with were the ones I was putting on my before and after page because, and then I've had multiple people when they call me say the only reason I reached out was because I saw that you had done a session in a house that was worse than mine. So I knew you could do this and you would not judge me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we don't have to go perfect. And that's kind of like my mission, my goal, like as a coach, as an organizer, as someone helping other organizers, is that's who I want to find are the other people like me that are heart-centered. We truly just want to help people. We know that everything's not perfect. It's real life. Like we're just trying to get in there and help others the best we can in the moment because we realize moms are overwhelmed, wives are overwhelmed, everyone's overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, we're all overwhelmed and we just need some help.
Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So you've got your homework. So definitely do that. And then we have if you get a chance, we have a group coaching call tomorrow with some of the other girls in the membership. And so if you're getting stuck anywhere or if you need to reach out to me, by all means, definitely, you know, on Messenger or whatever, reach out. But once you get, you know, some of this stuff done, then let me know. And then we will hop back on and we'll do part 2 of this series. and we will start working on your website. And I figure it's probably going to take 2 more because, you know, the first one's probably going to be like your homepage. And then we're going to have to start playing with like, you know, the, like some of the, you know, I don't know. We just like, you've still got to figure out your colors, and there's just a lot that goes into this.
Right.
But it's something that once you get it done, it's done. Like then it's just a matter of going in later and like adding before and after photos or whatever. But the website you just looked at, I literally created, I think like 3 years ago, and I've not touched it since except to add some before and after photos. So it takes some time now, but it's completely worth it. I promise.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you for sticking with us. And we hope to see you in part 2. And yeah, if you're stuck or want to come join us in the coaching community, you can go to proorganizers.community and sign up and come join us in our coaching community. Thank you for watching. And thank you, Haley.
Thank you.